I don't know who needs to hear this, but I know this message is for someone. Now, today's topic is when you're feeling forsaken by God. So once again, it happens to us all. It hadn't happened to me until recently, but let's just talk about it for a second. Let's chat. So just recently, a friend of mine mentioned that she was feeling like she was forsaken by God, and immediately, as a male, you know what we do? We seek to solve problems. So the first thing I did, I went in to look into AI, had AI come up with a 5-step solution to how you can get over being forsaken by God. But you know what? I found out a couple weeks later, she didn't read it. She didn't even read it because she knew it was AI. And because it was of AI and not of the heart, she didn't attach much value to it. So today what I'm going to do is I'm coming to you from the heart. This is nothing from AI. This is nothing that's going to be very succinct or high-minded. This is just truly coming from me, your boy, your friend, your cousin, Daryl. Now, being forsaken by God, that's something that we all have experienced at some point in our lives. I had not, because I've always been in church since I was a kid, believed, and had been through real tough times. But you know what? That changed about 5 years ago. About 5 years ago, I started going through some tough times, some dark moments, and it really tested my faith. But I never had gotten to the point where it was like, you know what? I felt forsaken. And it wasn't until she said it that I realized it. But you know what? I felt the same way too. But instead of going to AI and trying to give you a 5-step principle process of how to get out feeling forsaken, I'm going to come from the heart. I'm going to tell you this. Because I recently went to that same mindset or mental framework, I'll tell you how it worked for me. The first thing is, when you're feeling forsaken by God, we have a tendency or a propensity to get isolated. We don't want to talk to anyone. We don't want anyone to know. We're not reaching out. We're isolated. We're not talking to anyone. That's the worst thing to do. So the first thing when you're feeling forsaken by God is just don't isolate yourself. You need to be around people, right? And people can give you the keys to the next step, which to your next opportunity, your next win, or the next mind-changing framework that can alter your life forever. Number 2 is get help. I'm serious. Now, one thing that I've started doing probably 13 to 15 years ago was incorporating a therapist in my life. And so I can talk out and get out the things that I'm struggling with that I just don't have the answers to. Having that second person mental capacity that can balance me and give me a different perspective. So just recently, just going to my therapist, it really helped me overcome the isolation. It helped me overcome the embarrassment. It helped me overcome those feelings of what should I do next? And maybe you look at it from a different perspective, you give me another answer. That's one of the most things I would say most people don't do. And I have friends of mine that we are bulwarks about this, and we stress it to everyone. If you can find a therapist, then get you a therapist. And my therapist, Carl, I've actually sent people to him who are using his therapy sessions and having some great outcomes. And he and I talked last week. He said, Daryl, thank you for sending me people. And I say, hey, no problem. Whenever people are doing good work, or if I can help out anyone, I want to go ahead and do that. So I send people to him. And I encourage you, it may not be Carl, but find or seek some therapy that you can have someone to talk to and bounce some things off of. It may be an emotional outpouring. It depends on how much you're holding in, but at the end you're going to feel better and you're going to have more perspective. Then last but not least, I'm going to say this is going to be the biblically based part of it. When you're feeling forsaken by God, you need to be able to get quiet and hear his voice, because he said, my sheep know my voice. So if you're a sheep, you know how to differentiate between God's voice and the voice of the devil. Seek purpose. Seek to understand what his will is, because I would say the number one reason why I felt forsaken was because my plans were not going as I thought they would be. But it's really God's plan. So once you get into God's plan and what he has for you and understand his purpose for your life, then you can lay all that other stuff at the altar. So I laid that other stuff at the altar, and it was freeing, because the stuff that I wanted was all based on thoughts and ideas in ways that I want to be viewed, or where I want to be experienced, right? But it's not about how I want to be experienced. It's how God wants you to experience others, and how he wants others to experience you. So those are my 3 steps. When you're feeling forsaken, let's turn this around on its head. First and foremost, don't be isolated. Get around people, talk to people. Number 2, get help. Get some therapy. Go to a real therapist, right? Not just your friends and family. Talking to your friends, your girlfriend is not therapy. I mean, get on the couch. A real certified therapist will help you through those situations. And then last but not least, you want to cry out to God for purpose, revelation, and understanding of what he wants in your life, and lay down what you have or what you thought what your life would be, right? And let God be the guiding light. Let him be that North Star of what that next step will become. All right? Later.